Hello, and since I was out of the shop this past week, I figured I would go back in the archives and find this fixture here that I made for these Focus ST short throw shift kits that I used to make a long time ago. So my plan was to roll back the history, the design history, and start right from the beginning. To start off with, I created this plate. So I bought this plate of raw aluminum, and it happened to just fit on the Tormach mill, which is what I had at the time, and it measured 14 by 7. So after I designed that, I pulled in the upper and the lower. This is the upper part and this is the lower part for the shift kit. Just these two parts, plus there's a few bolts that go with it. So I pulled these in, they were already designed. So I moved them around and then I copied them and moved those around until they all fit. So the plan was to do the top side of two sets and then to flip them over here and do the bottom side and mill out these little channels or pockets, if you want to call them that. So that's what I planned to do. So I brought in everything and got them situated, and I just moved them around, and I ended up grounding them. So when you go right here, you can right click the component and hit ground. Right now it says unground since it's already grounded. So I moved them around until I got them to fit exactly where I wanted them to on the plate. So after I got everything moved around and exactly where I wanted it to, also there should be another one of these right here, but I think that came later. Anyway, just picture another one of these components about right here. Like I said, I pulled this up from the archive, so I don't really know what I was doing back in the day. After I got all these situated and then grounded, I created these pockets where the stock would fit into. So on the left side here, I made these pockets where the raw stock will fit into. And you can see the component fits inside of these little rectangles that I made. And then this side over here, I projected the outside silhouette of these components straight down to the plate. And that will allow me to use those features, the drawing entities from that projection, to make the pocket for when I flip these upside down to mill this channel pocket thing out. Also, one thing to note on the left side here, these are actually floating above the surface of this plate. And that's for a good reason, is because I want to machine this entire depth of the part on the first operation. So when I flip it over, all I have to do is machine the top at whatever's left down here, whatever I was holding on to with these pit bowl clamps right here. Which leads me to my next thing, the pit bowl clamps. So I held the raw stock in with pit bowl clamps from Mighty Bite, these little clamps here, and they tell you exactly how to machine the pockets for your pit bowl clamps. I believe I used this 26020 right here, and they give you this A dimension right here, so 0.2 inches away from the front side, and then that's where you drill the center line of the hole, and they give you the pocket dimensions. They give you everything you need to know in order to design your fixture to be used with their clamps. So it's very convenient that they have this. I really don't know any other way that it would work if they didn't have this. I would just be confused. So I designed these little pockets here for those pit bowl clamps, and that would hold onto my stock for these parts. And one thing to note, that this depth was made to a specific depth to work with this depth for the pit bowl clamps. So just keep in mind whenever you're designing to get the depth of your pocket correct. Really, in some cases, you don't even need to make these pockets here. I mean, you would need to make the pit bowl pockets, but you could just have another bar, say right here, to push the pit bowl clamps against here. Really, I should have some like Talon grips or something to hold this side in rather than just have the pocket of the aluminum here, because this will get worn out if it's just aluminum. So you could have a steel piece there or whatever. I did it this way because I didn't want to have to buy the extra clamps on this side. I would rather just use the pit bowl clamps and push against this side of the plate that I machined out of this pocket. So there I go ahead and I do pit bulls on this side too. And this actually is the cosmetic side. This is the actual part. But it didn't really matter to me because this whole part is in the engine. So I just wanted to be able to hold this thing down so I could machine it. So the pit bull clamps make little indentations in the side of the part, which is okay for me. These things still sold, so it didn't really matter to me at the time. Plus, I really didn't know any other way to do it at the time. Now I understand what I could have done, but still, these worked out really well. So I made these pockets for the pit bowl clamps on this side, and I did it for this bigger half too. And I would just put those upside down in this pocket and tighten the pit bull clamps down, and I could machine it just fine. So now I added the holes for the screw for the bolt of the pit bull clamp, moving things around just a little bit more, I guess. And now I'm adding in the stock. So it was easier for me to model the stock piece that I was going to be cutting instead of just creating the stock from the setup in the manufacturer tab here. So I just modeled all the stock pieces. Also, here's that one. I just haven't had it situated yet. There it goes. So I've added in all these stock pieces. I just modeled them up and made them their own separate component. And this is the actual stock that I will be machining these parts from. And then I do the same thing here. So this is like what's left of the stock, what's going to be left when I machine it away. I select this piece of stock in my setup in order to machine this bottom half of this part, if that makes any sense at all. Slightly confusing. So added that one, and then there's this piece too, and that's what's left of that side after I machine this first operation. So like I said, these two sets over here are first operation, and these two sets right here are the second operation. And it looks like I added two more over here. And there was a good reason for that, is because I couldn't tighten down this bolt right here for this pit bull clamp because it was under this piece of the stock. So I had to add these two on the side here so I could tighten down this part so I could hold it to be machined. And there's that side too. So that's what I come up with. That's sort of how I did it. Really the hardest part is getting all the parts in here and getting them situated where you want them to so that they're away from everything else, so you can make sure they can be machined easily without running into each other. So here's the machining setup for doing one full plate. So you can see how these turn like a light tan brown color, and that just shows that that is the stock part. That's the stock to be removed. These are the 8 pieces to be machined, and my origin point is the bottom side of this. So I modeled this in and then I machined it when I machined the fixture. I added this feature in here so I could find the center of this hole and the bottom side of that hole. That's the work coordinate system for this whole plate. And then I chose the stock sizes. I did from solid, and I chose all these solid pieces for those specific parts to be machined. Then I can go in here and turn off all these stock pieces. And then I can go in and start adding different tool paths. So here we go here. Selected the top parts of those parts and hit OK. I'm not going to hit OK because it'll take forever to load. Same with those. Just doing all the adaptive tool paths, and I believe this is the shear hog here, which is the 3/4 inch end mill. And then I start roughing everything out on the sides. So really, once you get everything situated and get your stock pieces set up, this is a breeze. This is just as normal. If you're familiar with programming parts, this is just as normal. You just start clicking whatever you need to be machined for that specific part. So I really think that that is it for these pieces here. And I always made sure that the stock was pushed up against these sides here. And that's how I knew how to locate the stock every single time. So I really think that that's it. I without going into too much detail, this video could be forever long if I went into extreme detail. So we're not going to do that. Just know that in the design tab, using the project feature is key. So once I got these situated, you can hit P for project, and then it'll bring up this dialog box here, and you can select the outside silhouette of this part. You can select these things that you want to project from this specific part onto this body here, and then from there you can make the pocket for this to fit in. So that is definitely the key when making any type of fixture, soft jaw, whatever. At least for me it is. I think that's it for now, so thanks for watching. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below or email me. My email is also in the video description. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.